Hello everyone, welcome to another video and welcome to round 10 of the GT Sport FIA Nations 2020 series, and this one is an extended strategy guide. It was the last round, we had a little bit more time to play with, so we decided to put a little bit more content in this one and cover all aspects of the race. So here's the settings on screen. We are going to circuit the Spa Francorchamps. We are going in Group 1 machinery, tyre wear at ×5, fuel consumption at ×2. And as we scroll down to the tyre requirement, we have all three of the racing compounds to run as mandatory in this one. So certainly plenty of strategy options open because of that. So a little bit of a quick look at the circuit we're going to be visiting and some of the key locations. We are going to Spa in the Belgian region of Ardennes. We're looking at the bus stop chicane there. Final corner of the circuit, which also leads on to the pit lane. La Source hairpin, the first corner, scene of many dive bombs, so look out for them in your races. And finally, we couldn't look at Spa without looking at Eau Rouge. And then run up the hill into Radallion and down the straight of, let me know what the straight's called, Kemmel Straight, which takes us to Les Combes. So that's some of the key corners for this circuit, but as when it comes to Group 1, one of the key questions you always have to ask yourself is what car. So we're going to take a look at some of the cars that will be popular for this one. And first up is the Porsche 909 Hybrid. Now we sort of did a wee test, we did about 5 laps at each car just to get a feel for them. Now the Porsche feels pretty good, but I didn't think it was the quickest car out of the sort of 3 modern day hybrids. It was kind of a lot of corners where you seem to be stuck between gears, which made things a little bit difficult, so I don't think Porsche is going to be a good choice for this one. Moving on to the Toyota TS050, always a popular car when it comes to a Group 1 race. This car felt very nice round this circuit, only got 6 gears, it seemed to be geared very nicely for the circuit. Looking at the lap times there, we were quicker than the Porsche straight out the box, and we're also able to keep that sort of lap time very consistent. It did seem to have better tyre wear than the Porsche, which was very nice. But one of the key things about this car, what it's got over the Porsche and the next car we're going to look at, is the hybrid. The TS050 keeps the hybrid alive without any kind of manipulation, which is quite a big advantage over the other 2 cars. Moving on to the Audi R18, this is the car that is dominating the leaderboard at the moment. So it clearly has some pretty nice 1-lap pace, if you like, and that's kind of reflected in our lap times that we're doing here. You can see we've done a 58.0, so that's the quickest lap time we've done out of the 3 cars so far. It does run out of its hybrid pretty quickly, but initially it was keeping it alive just enough to sort of give us quicker lap times. But when I got to lap 4, we will actually see the end of this lap. In the second half of this lap, the hybrid died completely, and it had quite a big impact on my lap times. So that is definitely something to keep in mind if you're going to pick this car. It's probably going to be very good for qualifying, but I'm not sure it's the best race car out there. Another car that always goes well at Spa, and certainly last time I had a Group 1 FIA race at Spa, was the Peugeot 908. This is a sort of older era LMP, so no hybrid for this one, just prodigious speed down the straights. Unfortunately I couldn't quite get the lap time out of it. We're about half a second off the hybrids. And it did seem to be sort of chewing through the tyres a little bit quicker than the other cars as well, and could also be quite a handful, I have to say, so maybe not one for the sort of less experienced drivers out there. So I think for those reasons I'm probably going to rule that one out. And finally we're going to take a look at Group C. We've got the Porsche 962 on screen. I generally find this to be the sort of nicer of the Group C cars to drive. Actually handled really nicely around the circuit. Of course it has monstrous top speeds down the Kemmel Straight and the run down through Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane, but it suffers with a lack of downforce in that middle sector. Obviously no hybrid, a bit clunky in the gear changes as well, and so you can see the lap time there, a 201.6, so we're 3.5 seconds off the hybrids. Now you never ever jump into Group C cars and get the pace straight away, so with a bit of practice I'm fairly sure I could get that down into the sort of 59s. But even then we're going to be considerably off the pace where we need to be if we want to be competitive. So I know the Group C cars are popular with a lot of people, but in terms of being competitive at this race, they are not to be picked. So the car that we are going to pick, and the one that I'm sort of favouring towards, is the Toyota TS050. It just ticks all the boxes, a very consistent car, keeps that hybrid alive nicely, and it did seem to be pretty nice on the tyre wear as well. So we're going to move on to some strategy runs. First run here, you can see we've got it on the screen. I've put one stop, it will actually be a 2-stop. So obviously we need to make 2 stops because we need to run all 3 of the compounds of tyres. So this is just going to be a traditional soft, medium, hard run. We'll sort of run the softs for as long as we think they're competitive, move on to the mediums, and then run the hards for the absolute minimal length. We're probably only going to do 1 lap on the hards. Tyre wear will be at ×5, and high downforce cars tend to look after the tyres a little bit better because they're not doing any sliding. So we're on lap 5 of this 2-stop run, starting on the soft tyres. A little bit inconsistent in the lap times. I'd like to be keeping it sort of in the low 158s, a bit more than what I was. Lap 3, 58.4. I'd like to be a couple of times quicker than that. Likewise, lap 5, a 58.5 as we jump forward a couple of laps here. I like that to be a little bit quicker, but all in all, it's not too bad. However, by lap 7, as we're on now, I did feel that the tyres were beginning to sort of die a little bit, and I thought this would be a good time to come into the pits. It's also a good time for us to check out the pit loss and sort of calculate that. So Spa has always been known as having quite a long pit lane, usually in the sort of region to 11-12 seconds. But the sort of pit loss does change between categories, and for some reason in Group 1 the pit loss is actually very, very short. So we're looking around 5.5 seconds. I think that will surprise a few people that don't do any testing. They're kind of expecting Spa to be that sort of usual long pit loss, but only 5.5 seconds lost in the pits in Group 1 machinery. So that again could open up some strategy elements. Now, one thing I've not touched on, I did actually mean to touch on it during the sort of when we're looking at the cars, is that fuel is of no concern in this one. All the cars I tested were easily able to do the 16 lap distance on a full tank of fuel. So that's one element you can absolutely forget about, is fuel. Fuel is not going to be a concern for this one. So looking at our medium tyre run here, did sort of initially put in a really good lap in lap 9 there, but then we did sort of struggle a little bit for pace on the mediums. I thought they'd be able to sort of match the soft times a little bit better once the fuel was burned down. But I think we just did a really good lap on lap 9. But the sort of good longevity and sort of no worries about them lasting to the last lap, where we're going to change on to the hard tyres here. So the soft tyres and the medium tyres have enough life between them that no matter what strategy you go for, you only want to be running 1 lap on those hard tyres. So out the pits we come, jumping forward. We had to overtake the AI car twice in this race. It's not been a fantastic run. No major mistakes, but there was a lot of little mistakes that I felt cost me sort of lap times, particularly in the sort of medium stint. But across the line we come, finishing time is going to pop up. There we go, it's a 31.55.6. Now as I said, it wasn't a perfect run. I think at least 3 seconds could be taken off that if I sort of really put in a good run, and if I really nailed the run, probably about 5 seconds off that one. So given that the pit loss was only 5.5 seconds and we have to run all 3 sets of tyres, it did kind of get me wondering whether a 3-stop strategy would be viable by doing a double stint on the softs. So we sort of went straight into another run, and that's the plan for this one. We're going to do a double stint on the softs. We're going to be really push the first stint on the softs, and we're going to pit it at the end of lap 6, as you can see here. Again, the lap time's not quite where I wanted it to be, particularly on laps 4 and 5 there. Certainly lost a few attempts at each of those laps, but into the pits we come. We'll take on a new set of soft tyres. Out we come. As I said, we're going to double stint the softs, as it says on the screen. And so we'll jump forward here to our first flying lap on these new sets of soft, and then that initially looked like this strategy might pay off. So that was a significantly quicker lap than what we're doing on our first stint, so Again, we managed to repeat that on our next flying lap on the soft, so very low 57s. At this point everything was looking quite good for the free stop strategy. But the lap times did start to drop off. Lap 10 wasn't a brilliant lap, and we made quite a big mistake coming out of the chicane on lap 11, which seriously affected our lap 12 lap time. So at the end of lap 13 we decided we're going to come back in to the pits, get rid of these soft tyres, and we'll take on the mediums for a couple of laps. And then after those 2 laps, in again, once again on the last lap for a set of hard tyres. So out on the hard tyres we come, and at this point things were looking pretty even between the 2 strategies. I did think maybe the sort of free stop strategy was just about to pip the 2-stop strategy, until we did this little move here. Tried to go round the AI car, round the outside, ran wide, onto the marbles, got the tyres really dirty, and by the time we managed to sort of recover, get back on the track, past the AI car, and finish the race. That all in all cost us about 3 seconds. Over the line we come here to complete that free stop strategy. Finishing time will pop up. It was a 31:55.6 for the 2-stop, and it's a 31:58.9 nearly for the 3-stop. So a little bit disappointing. I did think that the free stopper might have had a chance to be quicker there, and I think had I ran both runs a little bit better, they'd been very, very close on lap time. But we'll discuss the sort of difference between the strategy and what one I think is going to be better just a little bit later in the video. First up, we're just going to look at sort of delta between the soft tyres and the medium tyres, should you decide to start on the medium tyres. Soft tyres are doing like low 158s, medium tyres low 159, so it looks like there's around about a second between the 2 tyre compounds. No really any point taking a look at the hards. They are quite slow, and you're only going to be running 1 lap on them no matter what you do anyway. So a couple of little tips: just be careful in this pit lane. It's very easy to hit that barrier there, and if you sort of skip the little bollards, you can pick up half a second penalty, so do remember that for the pit lane. If you do decide to use a Toyota, go through Eau Rouge and Radallion onto the Camel Straight in 5th gear. You can rev 5th gear out until about 184 miles an hour. So it is quicker to do that, definitely. And be very careful, probably in all Group 1 cars, of getting even just a little bit of dirty tyres. We went a little bit wide there coming out the chicane, and even though we braked early for La Source hairpin, we came nowhere near close to get to the apex, and we struggled to get out of it. That little running wide there cost me a second in lap time. So let's just recap on everything we've learned during the video. It has been a lot of information thrown at you and a lot of elements that we've looked at. We'll just start off with the fuel, just to recap on the fuel. Fuel is not an issue in any of the cars I tested at the beginning of the video. In fact, I would suggest you want to be revving the car as much as you can throughout the race just to try and burn that fuel. Make it a little bit lighter towards the end, more competitive, and hopefully look after those tyres maybe a little bit more. We then sort of done a sort of traditional 2-stop strategy. Of course, we've got to run 3 different compounds of tyres, so you're at minimum you're making 2 pit stops. We just did a traditional, starting on the softs, moving on to the mediums, and then a single lap on the hards at the end. We went 7 soft, 8 medium. I seemed to be quite a good sort of point to sort of change the tyres from the soft to the medium. The sort of first lap on the mediums was very competitive in relation to what we were doing on the softs. But pace did drop off a little bit on the mediums, more than I thought it would. But so obviously it'll be able to keep that kind of pace nicely, easily for the 8 laps that I asked of it. With the short pit lane loss, I did think that maybe a free stop strategy, doing a double stint on the softs, would be a viable way to go about the race, and maybe even quicker than the 2-stop strategy. We did 6 laps, then 7 laps on the softs, 2 laps in the mediums, and 1 lap again on the hard tyres. I did make a few mistakes during that run. I did highlight the mistake I made on the last lap on the hard tyres. Even at that, I don't think it was going to be that much quicker than the 2-stop, if quicker at all. Did surprise me a little bit, because the lap times sort of maybe did think that it was in with a chance. I think both strategies would be very close in terms of finishing time if you sort of got them both correct, or nailed them if you like. But I tend to find that if you're going to do a stop that includes an extra a strategy that includes an extra stop, then it has to at least be 3 to 4 seconds quicker in overall finishing time to be viable, because you're going to run into other elements usually in that strategy, like traffic, stuff like that, etc. So for me, this one does look like a sort of traditional two-stopper. Depending on where you start the race might indicate what tyre you want to start on. I think if you're towards the front, starting those soft tyres, bolt as much as you can, make a gap, put on the mediums maybe about lap 6, 7 or 8, run the mediums until lap 15, then put on the hard tyres. If you're mid-pack, maybe you want to sort of try on the mediums, then your softs, and then your hard tyre at the end. Towards the rear, I think you're going to go hard, do that one lap, and then depending on how you want to attack the race from there on, it's going to be whether you go on to the soft or medium. That's my thoughts for this one. There is quite a lot there to sort of divulge. Hopefully it's been helpful. I'm going to get this one out nice and early on the Wednesday or Thursday morning, so that you can get nicely prepared for this race. It is round 10, it is the last race of the current series, I guess, or the current stage of the championship. So hopefully this has been a helpful video to get you started for that one. Please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button if you like what I'm doing on the channel. It all helps the channel to grow, slowly but surely, and I do appreciate it very much. But until the next one, thank you very much for watching, and good luck in your races. Goodbye now.